Lesson 3 of the Digiments tutorials is showing you how to use your Digiments with different color backgrounds and changing the background to gradients. Make sure you've watched Lesson 1 and Lesson 2 on how to use Digiments, as we will be working from those lessons. So, as where we left off in Lesson 2 is we have our Digiment on its own separate layer. If you notice here in the layer palette, this layer is my Digiment, and it has a transparent background underneath it, and right now it has a color overlay. Now I'm going to get rid of all the effects that's on it currently right now by under the effects palette. If you go to the little drop down, just clicking the little eyeball off and on, that turns it off and on. So for now I have it turned off. To change the background color, what we're going to do is go over to your tools palette here, and we're going to click on the square. You'll notice that one looks a little gradiated. That's a gradient tool. And there's also a square that's a rectangular tool. We'll want to use the rectangular tool first, just so I can show you how to use it. Now if you click on it once and hold it down, you'll notice that there are multiple options here, such as ellipse, polygon, rectangle, etc. So we want to use the rectangular tool, and I'm going to show you how to use it if you wanted to cover the whole thing. If you wanted to cover an entire sheet of paper with a color, make sure you changed your color option down here. You double click on the little box here, and that changes what color it's going to be. Let's make it purple. Press OK. And you'll notice there's little crosshairs here when you have your square picked. And if you just drag across, that is what your square is going to be. And you'll notice that it covers your entire page, or whatever portion of your page that you dragged across. And it's covering your Digiment. And that is because it is on the layer above it as the default. So we want our Digiment over top of this, so we're going to drag that layer below, and you notice our Digiment is coming out here. Now I'm going to change the option on my Digiment. I don't want it to be this green color because you can't really see it very well on the blue. So I'm going to turn my effects on, and even the pink doesn't work, so we're going to change that color overlay. So double click your effects and go to color overlay, and for now we're just going to change it to that black just so you can work with it. Now changing the background of behind your Digiment of your entire sheet is really great if you want to see how your Digiment is going to look like on a colored sheet of paper without wasting the paper. So if I had a purple sheet of paper, this is basically what my Digiment's going to look like if I printed it out on that purple. Now if I had already purple colored paper, I would just need to print it like this. I don't need to put a purple box to print on purple paper. It's a mouthful. But let's say I only had white paper, but I wanted purple background. So you would need to create a box to print this. Now, this would be wasting a lot of ink if I tried to print the entire sheet in purple. So you can resize this box so it's just kind of how you want it. Now I want to turn on the Show Transform controls. So click the little box that's all the way up here in the top, and you notice the little transform boxes. So little arrows, if you scroll over the little boxes, will show you where you can transform them. Now by holding Control down or Shift down, sorry, if you hold Shift down in the corner, you can keep the same sizing constraints. By just moving them without holding anything down, you can move just one of the sides at a time. Now this is nice if you wanted to make a custom box size-wise. And then if you didn't have purple paper, I could print this out on a standard sheet of paper, letter-sized cardstock, and it would print purple, and I could just cut that out. Now let's say you really want white for your Digiment. However, you can't get white if you print on a purple sheet of paper because there is no white ink. So what we're going to do is kind of a cheat. So you have your purple box here, and we're just going to put it where we want it, and we're going to change the color of the Digiment itself. You know, this is not exactly in the right spot. Okay, that's a little more even. So we're going to change the color of our Digiment. So once again, go to your effects, double click, and we're going to change the color overlay. Double click on that box, and you're going to change it all the way to white. Now make sure in your CMYK it's complete zeros down the board. Click OK. Click OK again. And you'll notice it is white. So if you're printing on a white sheet of paper, the only thing your printer is printing is this purple. It's the white paper basically coming through to wherever your Digiment is. So if you wanted white ink, that is basically the only way you're going to get it on a standard at-home piece of paper. So that's kind of your cheat way to get white. Now let's say you wanted to change and have a gradient behind it. It's very similar to how you do your gradient for your Digiment. You're going to use your layer options. So you go to your background square and you double click in the layer styles. You're going to add your gradient. Same way as how you do it for your Digiment. You can either choose presets or you can change your own presets by picking your own actual colors and changing, scrolling back and forth between do you want more of one color, more of the other. So if you're not familiar with changing the gradient, make sure you watch the video before this on how to make a gradient for your Digiment. It's the same exact principle, except for instead of your Digiment doing the gradient, it's the background. So that way, if I wanted to print, I would be printing, the only thing that would be printing on this page is this gradient piece. Now this still is a lot of ink, and I wouldn't suggest doing this option this big unless you are willing to give up a lot of ink from your printer, or your printer doesn't go through ink very fast. So that is basically a quick way on how to change your background of your Digiment, how to make a gradient for your background of your Digiment, and how to basically make a white Digiment and print it out. So I hope that's helpful, and have a great day.